little bit of a late start today, and this meeting is virtual. Karen, could you do roll call?
Gotta unmute, Karen.
Chief Mason,
I'm here.
Planner Fred Evander,
I'm here.
Public Works Liaison Matt Carpenter.
I'm here.
Valerie Watts is attempting to join us. Ricardo Rivera is absent, as well as Dennis Miller.
Okay.
I'm here too.
Yeah, but you're not part of the official commission.
Oh,
You're the liaison from the city council.
But you matter to us, Don.
Yes, you do.
Make sure we know that you're here. We don't want anyone to think you're slacking on your city councilor duties by
Right.
not attending these meetings. So the next item on the agenda is visitor public comment. And we could take items 6.3 and 6.5 as a public comment if we would like, and let our guests participate. But I'm kind of stalling to hope Valerie shows up. So what do you guys think? What's the better choice? Shall we wait to take those items, hoping Valerie shows up, and that if there's any action to be taken or deliberation to be done, that she can participate?
Probably.
Okay. All right, so announcements is next up. Fred, I think you had some announcements you'd like to share.
Now I'm on mute. Just one. So we've been working on the transportation system plan for, I don't know, a while with our consultant Kittleson and Associates. That is going to be coming to another joint planning commission city council meeting on May 11th. And they are really getting close to the point where that document is almost done. So I guess I just wanted to let folks know that that was something that's happening. It includes a whole bunch of like sort of looking out into the future and like thinking about road improvements that are going to be necessary. I think I talked to this group at one point about it in the past. The other thing that and it's sort of related to the question about stop signs at 4th and C, is I'll show you this. And let me see if I can actually share my screen. I can. Perfect. So, hey, we just recently, we heard of a project where we could work with some Portland State students to help us evaluate some transportation issues in the community. And really what we reached out to Portland State and we said, hey, we're doing our transportation system plan. And as part of that plan, the consultant has come up with this idea of like bike boulevards, or taking some of our low stress or our low volume streets and making them into more bicycle friendly sort of streets, like, and making it clear that you can ride a bike on them. You can, if you're a older guy, hop on a scooter and ride on a scooter through these places, all of those sorts of things. And so we applied to Portland State. It's called their Better Block PSU program, and we got approved. And so they're going to be letting us have some students who come down and help us evaluate how we can actually practically achieve some of these lower stress streets on some of these streets through the community. So basically, where we've proposed the project is on 5th, on Ash, or on 5th, going from Henry Hill to IES, which is a low volume street. Currently, it's never going to have much traffic on it. Tends to be slower speeds. Let me see if I can actually show. Oh shoot. Let me get there real quick. I'll show you a map too. Let me make sure that's the right one. Pardon the technical difficulty. So this is essentially the concept that we showed them. We said we would like to consider how this would work on a street like Ash Street, going north from Independence Elementary School to Polk right there. How 5th could come down to Henry Hill, to the pool and all of that sort of stuff. And then potentially a route either B or C that would connect into downtown and ultimately into our trail system. And so we pitched that idea, and they said, okay, yeah, let's do that. And so we're going to have some students actually helping us think about how some of those bike boulevards or some of those alternative transportation streets might work. So the idea is a project that connects downtown, the school, the pool. The idea is to create a series of low stress streets for all ages and abilities, recognizing that we have like Ash Street here. And I mean, this picture is a good depiction of what's going on there right now. I mean, this guy is trucking along. He was so cute. He was like, take my picture, take my picture. You know, one of those things. And so, but I mean, he's riding on the sidewalk. This lady's walking walking in the street. It's not exactly the best bike pedestrian friendly street right now. I mean, this is also on the same street. This is a dude riding a scooter through that 90-degree turn there. And then, you know, also just really thinking about how this whole sort of concept could connect into the park. So, and I love that picture. Isn't that great? Isn't that a great picture? A dude on a skateboard with a fishing pole. Yeah, I love that picture. So basically, one of the things that we told them is it could enhance the sense of place and overlook places in Independence. That's Ash Creek, sort of looking from the bridge where there's no sidewalk to it. And, you know, it's a nice view. Also just around the pool and the community garden, like really saying, hey, let's embrace this as part of the community. And then also like to avoid the 290s coming into the school, potentially figuring out a way to connect anything that we do on Ash Street through an alley into the elementary school. So, and the goal is ultimately to kickstart alternative transportation in Independence, like really like embrace the fact that we're super flat. We got a college nearby. It should be completely bikeable. We should see people on bikes or on scooters or whatever all the time. Now I'll just say, I'm excited about this project. I think this project is pretty urgent. And the reason that I think it's kind of urgent is I went to the school the other day when this project started and I took a picture of the bike rack. You see how many bikes are there? 2 of them. It's a sunny day, nice outside. 2 kids rode their bikes to school. I talked to the principal. I told her about the project. She was real excited about the project. She says, yeah, you know, out of my, I can't remember if it was 400 or 450 students, I got 2 kids that ride bikes. I'm like, yeah, I know. I took a picture of their bikes. You know, isn't that remarkable? Like you got that school with it that flat and you got 2 kids walking or riding bikes to school. And I mean, the fact of the matter is around IES, the school buses will not bus within a mile of the schools. So having 2 bikers is kind of crazy. Also, the lack of people walking and biking to the school produces things like this. This was actually going on out on the street. This is 4th as school was getting dropped off, and you can see the queue of cars that stop there waiting to pick up their kids. I mean, there's parking all over the place, all of that stuff. So basically, that's what this project's going to be about. You'll probably start seeing some students kind of coming around and just trying to evaluate like traffic flows, how many people are walking and biking right now, and they're going to ultimately come up with some just rough ideas of ways to sort of promote walkability and bikeability on these roads. So that's that project. I just thought I would give you guys a heads up, because I mean, it's kind of what you guys are about, and I guess what we're about, huh? So that's that. Questions about that?
Fred, do you know what their timeline is on trying to come up with some sort of a product?
Yeah, so it's cool. The whole program is 3 separate classes. We're just in the first class right now. So the first one is like pedestrian and bicycle planning. And so they're going to go from April to June, and they're going to be having their final project, like, which will include how to engage the public, a plan to engage the public about this project, and then some just rough existing data, and then some rough ideas about like plans and how some things might get done. If we continue on with the program, I can't remember if it's in the summer or the fall, they'll take those plans and they'll flesh them out a little bit more. And then the third class, if we continue in the program, is a civil engineering class that will actually produce full-blown designs of how these things might get done. So it's a cool project. And I mean, you know, they're kind of dealing with some of this stuff up in Portland all the time. And so it's like, man, it's great to get some people who are kind of familiar with that down here helping us think about it. So I'm real excited. Like I was kind of skeptical that it was all going to work out, but I mean, we got students working on it right now, so it's pretty cool. So
that's great. Any questions for Fred? All right, so just to be clear with everyone that's joined us as guests today, we are lacking enough people to have a quorum, but we can still listen to concerns. We just won't deliberate or make any decisions at this meeting tonight. But do know that you have a couple of employees of the city here that you're speaking to that in their daily lives make decisions about the sorts of things that you're here to talk to us about. So I don't think it's time wasted to listen to concerns, even though we may not be able to act on those officially tonight. So that said, I am going to just go ahead and move some things around on the agenda if you're following along on the agenda. And I think we will go first to item, it would be 6.3 on your agenda, and that is the alley between 240 Monmouth Street and 256 Monmouth Street. And Kendra Walker, I believe, is on the call today. And if we could let Kendra in if she isn't yet. I know we talked about this. This would be the alley next to Old City Hall, where there is currently a food truck, and it is the entrance to the parking lot of Old City Hall, which is partially occupied by Parallel 45 Brewery. And the concern that we spoke about at the last meeting was that vehicles are stopping in the alley to pick up items from either the food truck or the brewery, you know, tacos to go or growler fills. And when they leave their cars in the alley, they block the only access to the residents at 256 Monmouth Street to their driveway carport area. So they are unable to exit their carport if people are parked in that alley blocking it. We did talk about it last meeting, and we had some action items we were going to try. I don't know if any of those have been attempted yet, but today we had a new or additional follow-up complaint saying the problem is still there and persistent, and they were hoping that we could discuss it further. So I think that outlines the problem. Kendra, it looks like you are off mute. Would you like
Yes.
to add to our description?
You covered most of it. My biggest concern is with the weather getting nicer and people getting out more, that the problem is going to get worse. I have tried to address the problem with the owners of the businesses in a nice manner, asking them to, that there's that small section there when vehicles are there, I am not able to get in and out. And I have asked nicely to not block that area. To me, it almost feels like it's being encouraged for people to park there because I see the vehicles parked there. It's like they're waiting for the food. And then, yes, the food truck people come out and they bring the food to the person in the vehicle. So it's almost as if it's being encouraged as like a pickup area. And because it's been ongoing and it's been times when I'm trying to leave to work, or today, 10 minutes before I need to drop my daughter off at school, and I go out and I don't want to be confrontational. And I asked, if he could move, and he said, "Oh, we have a propane emergency. I cannot move." And it's like, well, I need to leave. And to me, it's disrespectful. And yeah, before something comes of it from my frustration, over time, it's, yeah, I don't want it to get to that point.
Good. I'm glad that you're sharing your concerns with us firsthand. That's always helpful to get the perspective of those that are affected by these things and not just talking hypothetically. Are there any questions for Kendra or any follow-up on that?
So what spots are they parking that are most concerning you is, I guess,
So
my question.
there's the business, and then there's the parking spots along the business.
Mhm.
And then my carport, basically driveway, where I park my car regularly, is in that alley. So it's directly in the alley. It's not in a parking spot. It's just vehicles in the alley.
Vehicles in the alley.
Yes, not in parking spots whatsoever.
Okay, because I've been out there a couple of times and I've looked at it and I had some pictures. I was gonna try and grab the pictures, but I can't find my pictures as I'm scrolling.
So there's
through
I'm not sure what it is, that fenced in area there, and there's some type of equipment that sits inside there.
Mhm.
So they tend to park right next to that, which when they park there, I cannot back out of the alleyway.
I see. So okay, so they park parallel to that fence spot. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So we discussed this in the last meeting, and it's not really discussing it now if I just restate what we discussed in the last meeting. So we had discussed painting the roadway, and we also discussed cutting that bush back, right? And so neither of those things have happened yet. So maybe it could alleviate the situation if we can get some of those things done. Okay.
Right. So, I mean, if the business painted the parking to actually make it clear where the parking was at, I think that would help out quite a bit.
I agree. And if they could possibly put some type of sign out there asking to not park there. There is one parking spot there, and Ryan, the owner of the brewery, places his garbage cans there to block it off so nobody does park there, because that spot also makes it difficult. But then instead, I mean, I've seen them pulling behind the garbage cans or like right up next to the garbage cans. It's just, I mean, it's very careless parking. I mean, I've seen it literally right behind our carport before I had to ask someone to move when he was getting out to go fill up his growler.
So Matt, is that something that the business can do, paint themselves, or is that something that Public Works would do?
We don't have any ways to paint. All of our painting is done contract. I don't know. I would probably ask Karen if that's, I mean, is that our alley or? So, yeah, we don't have the ways to do that ourselves. That would be a contract from our painter, but
But the, I think the alley, so that used to be City Hall, right?
Mhm.
It was the police department. And I'm pretty sure we owned where we parked our police cars as
That's-
part of the tax lot. I think the alley is probably, well, for example, that taco food truck isn't in the alley, right? It's on private property. Is that right, Fred?
That is correct.
Okay. So I think that if you were going to paint any parking, it would be on private property, not in the alley.
That's correct. And that's why I'm trying to get one of those pictures, is just so we can remember, but I can't find it. Just to remember where exactly the alley is located.
Well, I can picture it in my head. And so what I was thinking is when they pictured it is right where her carport is and the side of the building, I was thinking like yellow diagonal lines there that say no parking. And so that would be clear across the alleyway, you know, from side to side. And it wouldn't just be on the, 8 feet that they own right beside the building. That's kind of what I was envisioning, but
So I don't think we could do that without council action. So there is a code in our municipal code that allows people to block alleys for up to 30 minutes for the delivery or pickup of goods or services, which would pretty much fit in this scenario of growler fill. Now, that said, there's also a code that says you can't block a driveway. So which code, outweighs the other? Yeah, I mean, common sense would tell you you shouldn't block the driveway. But in order to say no parking in that alley or no temporarily stopping or standing, that would require us to get council approval, because the council is the only one that can make those kinds of decisions in the city. And that very well may be the best answer in this type of a situation where I don't think we want to eliminate all alley, the ability for businesses to use the alley for their business. But when it's conflicting codes now, we have a code that says you can do it to go pick something up, and then we have a code that says you can't do it if you're blocking a driveway, right? Then it becomes problematic, and maybe making that section unable to be parked in could be a potential solution.
And I do get, like, they get their propane tank filled. I do get them pulling in, that's the only means for them to do it. They have food delivered. I understand that aspect of it, but when they're just having, like today, their propane tank worked on, there's no reason the guy couldn't park elsewhere or a customer can't park elsewhere. I mean, there's plenty of parking spots back there. So I am understanding in the sense that certain times, yes, they're not going to pack a bunch of food back and forth, or they're, not going to move the giant propane tank to have it filled.
is there a way we can get the business owner in to talk to them directly? Maybe, I mean, it would just seem like, I'm sure we've talked to them, but maybe in a public forum like this, and we discuss the urgency of making sure that people don't block her driveway, maybe they would be a little bit more compassionate with the situation.
Sorry, I got sidetracked. Apparently Valerie's waiting to join the meeting, but in YouTube. So I'm trying to work with Jason to get her over here. That could be a request that we make, but that's and maybe we'll do that outside of the Traffic Safety Commission. This is really something that staff would handle oftentimes outside of a Traffic Safety Commission matter. So it sounded to me like Fred had already visited with at least the owner of the taco truck. I don't know about Parallel 45.
No, I talked with Ryan at Parallel 45.
I'm sorry, I got them mixed up, but not the taco truck. Okay.
Yep. I had communicated with the taco truck previously, so.
Okay. Well, without Valerie, Kendra, I appreciate you coming on. I know that you're working, so I will be respectful of your time. And we will try to address your concerns as we can.
All right, thank you for listening.
And as not to deliberate, I will go to the next item on the agenda. This is hard, Karen, by the way, not deliberating things. So that would be item 6.5, which is a request for stop signs at 4th and C Street. And I see Mr. DeMardo has joined the call.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to speak?
Sure, go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
please. No, you, please.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I live in the middle of between Monmouth and 4th and C, and the little blue house, and I just see those people parading nightly and daily with their cars, and I mean, maybe 6 out of 10 are driving the speed limit, and at least 4 out of 10 are exceeding the speed limit, and that's all times of the day, night, etc. But with the way that the school is going now, the teachers used to park in front of the school, and I think the buses were right out in the street. Well, now the buses are right up next to the sidewalk, and the teachers are parking all over. So there's so many blind spots that young kids can dart out from, I think there's a sidewalk there possibly, but excuse me, a crosswalk, but can dart out, and somebody's going to get killed. It's just the thought of there's mommy's car. I'm going to run out in between there, and there's just not enough time for people to stop unless we slow them down and get them to stop. There's a stop sign currently going east and west, but on the main thoroughfare, there's no stop sign going north and south. And my advocacy is for a 4-way stop there. It wouldn't even hurt my feelings if down on 4th and B Street that they put a speed bump in there, just to wake up everybody that this is school zone, and because they're definitely not traveling 20 or 25 miles an hour. And I watch it daily. I watch it nightly. I mean, I know the police, they have jobs all over the city to maintain, but my oh my, could you make it a bucket load on 4th Street as far as the number of people that speed on that street, regardless of the time of day.
Okay, Fred, I'm going to defer this one to you as a planning matter. I did pull it up on Google Earth, and there's crosswalks on all corners of that intersection. There's 4 crosswalks that square out the intersection.
Okay.
Yeah, there is, I believe there is crosswalks there, Fred. And the one thing is that the reaction time, people aren't slowing down. If they did have a 4-way stop there, they would have to slow down and then allow, of course, the kids to cross on the sidewalk, or proceed by having to come to a complete stop and then move forward. But I wish you could sit in my chair and see that, and you would be most surprised at the number of traffic. And it's amazing. 4th Street during the day and during the night is getting to be a real busy road, and we just don't want anybody getting hurt. And I've talked to many of the people that in my surrounding neighbors, and they said, well, gosh, please be our advocate and go down there and talk to the city about getting a 4-way stop there. So if you would like a petition from the neighbors, that I'll gladly solicit that for you. They're just, we just don't want anybody getting hurt. So sidewalks are great. I think it's Matt, your area there, Jason, I'm not sure, but that they're not slowing the traffic down, and there's just somebody's going to get hurt, and I just don't want it to be on my watch. So I'd like to be the advocate to making life a little safer for everybody. So
Ed, there are crosswalk attendants there during the days for the school children, right?
not on those roads. That's just crossing Monmouth.
Okay.
There is no crosswalk patrons there to escort the people across the street. So,
But isn't there a 15-mile-an-hour rule during school hours? So is this an enforcement issue?
and it'd be nice if they would honor that, but they just don't want to honor. Don't seem to honor that, I should say.
I think it would be at 20.
I think it's 20.
It'd be 20 for the school zone time.
Right.
I would agree with you that the traffic on 4th Street is ever increasing. It's actually, I think, somewhat by design, and Fred could speak to that, but I think that's one of our alternative routes that we push people
Excuse me.
to get through town. Sorry, go ahead, Fred. I'm taking your.
Oh, no, it's
spiel.
great. I mean, and fundamentally, I mean, everything that we're talking about is stuff that we need to consider. I mean, 4th Street is a collector per our existing transportation system plan and and in our proposed transportation system. We have in the new transportation system plan identified it as like, hey, this is a really important street, because when you think about north-south routes through the community, we just don't have very many, right? We've got Main Street, we've got 16th, right, that go all the way from from the south end of town to the north end of town. The only other one that we have potentially is 4th. And so we've looked at it, we've considered it. We thought about even rerouting 13th to get up through Central Plaza to get through up to Gun Club. And it's like, that's not very practical and all that sort of stuff. And so basically we've come repeatedly to the conclusion that 4th Street is a really important street. Having said that, it's important to handle traffic, but I mean, we recognize that it's got a school on it. And the fact that we have, like you're mentioning, the angled parking, and you're exactly right. At release time, you've got parents parked all over the place.
Right.
It is not I mean, thankfully some parents will get out of their car and they'll come and they'll grab their kids and walk back over to their car. But I agree with you 100%. It's just not a safe situation. And I agree that partially it's the road, but I think one of the major problems that we got is the fact that we're angling parking out on a collector's street and letting kids out of school and interacting with that angled parking on a collector's street. So it's one of those things where I don't know if a stop sign is the best solution in that situation. I think that it's a really complex problem, and we're going to probably need to consider a few different things if we really want to solve the solution or find the solution. I had a friend who used to say it's not a silver bullet, it's silver buckshot. And it seems like that's sort of the situation that we got here, where there's probably a few different things that we need to consider implementing to actually address the issue. So, I mean, that's part of the reason why I like the idea of trying to figure out how to get alternative routes for kids to get safely in, so we can get some people out of cars. So anyways,
one thing, Fred, if I could just intercede for a second, but of course I lost my train of thought here, but Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I'll just have to come back to it. I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Um,
Um, Looking at the overview of that, we have no parking all along the east side of that where you live there. Is that right?
correct. Right. Yeah, I live on the west side.
Okay, and all the way between C and B as well, right? That's no parking as well for most of the way, maybe halfway
Yeah, I think half the way.
to where that little there. I remember from my patrol days, there's like a little garage entrance or something strange there that maybe is where the parking starts. Anyway,
Right.
something I could do in the interim to give you an idea of how fast people really are going is to put the readout board down there so that you could
Mhm.
see their speeds as they're going by. We have it
Sure.
out in front of parallel 45 right now, but we
Right.
could put that there next if you'd like, right in the grass and the parking strip along there.
Sure.
You think they're going faster toward the north or toward the south?
Well, two things. I think they're coming off work from the mill or the excuse me, the spa facility or whatever there, and people are ready to get out of there. Well, that just so happens if they're working swing shift, that's right at that time that kids are trying to get out and so forth. And Fred, I did think of my point of what I wanted to share with you. Right now, we have a very low density of kids going to school because of the fact that with COVID and all of that. But starting May 1st, as I understand it, that all the kids will be back in school. So we'll be seeing seeing even that many more cars coming and dropping kids off, and parents and school bus activity and the like that way. So just keep that in mind as well too. This isn't something that will be we're hoping that you have solved tomorrow, but it's something that we really certainly need to consider. So that's just appreciate your consideration for doing that.
Okay. Jason's still working with Valerie, trying to get her on our call here. Karen, are you able to send Jason her email address? She's apparently listening. She's sending chat messages to Jason to share with me via chat. So I think she's on YouTube and not on Zoom is what's going on. Fred, is there a chance that your PSU study is going to impact this area as well? I mean, it has to in some capacity because it's one of your target destinations.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that they will definitely look at that too. I mean, so yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's good timing for us to look at this because we are going to be getting data from them, and what they give for data is like we have the opportunity to also go out and look too. And if there's things where what they've collected is not exactly what we need for this situation, we can go out and we can look again. So yeah, no, it's a good time to study the issue. Definitely.
Okay, and John, we'll get that reader board down there too. Please
do appreciate it. Thank you.
Something in the interim. All right. I had the Traffic Safety Commission position number 1 to discuss. Ramon had gotten I had asked Ramon to do some outreach and try to find us a person that had an interest in serving on the commission. And he did give us a name, and that person was contacted and sent an application by Karen, as well as an invitation to this meeting today to kind of check it out and see what they thought. But I don't think we've heard back. So I would say we still have a need. If there are people that have an interest or people that may have an interest, it would be helpful to have that position filled. Along that same line, I asked Karen to run some numbers on attendance, and we have another member who hasn't been here much, enough that it's really problematic. But since we are not in a quorum, we won't deal with that tonight. But you know how hard it is to not have people willing to be here, because then you don't get a quorum. I think it articulates our point really well. So,
I have a question.
yes.
The person who needs, do they have to live within city limits or just be a resident of Independence? Is it?
So that would depend on what our current people are. There's a matrix of a certain number aren't, and I would have to defer to Karen on where we stand right now with that matrix.
Okay.
Yeah. An update on the speed display signs that we were ordering. They are ordered and have been ordered, but seem to be a little slow in production. An update is that they're hoping to finish production and get them shipped late April, early May. So hopefully sometime in May, we'll be able to put a work order in with Public Works to get those things on the list. Public Works is also a little light right now, so I'll understand if that doesn't happen immediately. Matt, I know you're down a worker. You unmuted. I was waiting for you to talk.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, yeah, we can get them in, no problem. We did those other 2 signs for Lance fairly quick, so we can fit it in.
Okay. And 800 South 3rd Street was, I think, the last item that is on the to be discussed. And I don't have that one in front of me, but I think Fred, you might have researched that one a little bit.
I don't know much about it. It was just on the agenda, so I went out there, I looked at it. It's I mean, I don't think we have many streets like it where we have no curbs on either side. Is that right? Do we have many streets where there's no curb on either side?
There are some in Old Town, but there aren't many.
Yeah, and so this is one of those streets, and I didn't see much beyond, hey, parking on the street. And so I assumed that what's going on is it's kind of narrow right now, and maybe people don't want to pull all the way over onto the grass, and so they kind of park half on the pavement and half on the grass. I don't know much about the issue, and I didn't see any sort of issue when I was out there, but I could see easily how it could be an issue if people were parking on both sides and sort of parking half on the street, half on the grass. So who sent that? Where did that come from?
Hang on, I'll look.
Because we can look into the issue a little more.
That came through Sue, who got a complaint from a resident.
Okay.
And then Sue sent an email, which prompted it to make its way here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so you are right on. When vehicles park on both sides, it becomes really narrow and makes it impossible, in quotes, or very difficult for large vehicles to drive. Fire trucks or other large emergency vehicles wouldn't be able to get through when they're parked that way. So,
Gotcha.
comments on that one, Matt? I know you've got to be familiar with that street.
Yeah, it is a narrow roadway to begin with, and with cars parking there, I could see where that would be an issue.
All right. Maybe I'll ask Sue to shoot some photographs for us before our next meeting to help guide us a little bit in some solutions. Valerie isn't getting emails, so she's just going to listen in. So she is kind of here, and she's participating via chat when she can, but it's like 3-way. It goes to Jason, who then sends it to me, so it's not very efficient. I don't think we can count her as participating. Karen? No, Karen's shaking her head no. All right. I had statistics. I'm not going to go through them all with you, but they're, unless you want to see them. Do you guys want to see traffic stats and crashes? You want to see that stuff? Yeah?
Were there any at Gun Club in Hoffman?
Oh, Fred, you would ask that because I don't know the answer. I put them all in a nice PowerPoint for you. So hang on, and I will share my screen. Let's see. Well, I said I'd share my screen. If I could just see that screen. Okay, so having two monitors is not helpful when you go to share your screen because it takes it and hides it in the other screen. I see Karen nodding her head yes. She's probably dealt with this before. I had all prepped. I was ready to go, but now I'm not. All right, I'm getting closer. Well, so I say. Huh. All right, well, I'm just gonna do it the other way, which will be like this. Is that sharing for you? It's just
Yes.
kind of not a great share view, right? So those were minutes. We can do it this way. There. So there are enforcement data, which has picked up significantly since our last meeting. I think last meeting it was 63 or 4 warnings and 63 or 4 citations. We did get Lance back out on the motorcycle with the better weather, and I think that attributes to some more citations. So you can see that he's given a lot of warnings, and he told me he's going to places, and I will add 4th Street to his list, where he's not getting speeds as high as he feels really good about writing a ticket. Like, I won't throw numbers out there because, somebody will then say, well, I didn't get a ticket, or I got a ticket for that speed. So I'll just leave that out of it. But there's speeds where he thinks they're still a little high, but not where he's feeling like it really needs a ticket. He's doing a lot of those educational stops and warnings. So that's why I think you see 79 speeding warnings, kind of getting things slowed back down when the weather got better. So that is the traffic enforcement. And then we'll go into accidents. So these are injury accidents, and we had one at 1350 Picture Street, but that one was a single vehicle. Somebody was reaching back to adjust a car seat and ended up hitting a parked car and got injured. We do have Monmouth and Gun Club there, Fred. That's the place you were asking about, right?
No, I was asking about Gun Club in Hoffman.
Oh, okay. I don't see it on injury, but it may be on non-injury. Monmouth and Gun Club, we had a vehicle that turned into an electric assisted bicyclist, and that driver was cited of the vehicle. And Hoffman and Stryker, we had an injury accident, and we couldn't determine fault. And then on Stryker, there was a T-bone crash where a motorist pulled out into the highway and was cited for a dangerous left turn. Non-injuries, so Ash and Polk, Monmouth and 16th, 7th and Cedar, Monmouth and Gun Club, 16th and Monmouth, Monmouth and 16th. Good to move on? Everybody caught up? All right. And those were all the non-injuries. These are hit and runs, which there were a lot of this reporting period since the last meeting. Some arrests, but not on all of the cases. Some of them we have a suspect that we haven't yet found, but we know who it is. And then some we did make arrests on. But 8 hit and runs in that period of time is quite a few for our town. And then I threw in a new category for you, which was vehicle eludes. So in this reporting period, we also had 2 times where our officers went to stop people on traffic offenses and they eluded. One of those eludes, both were terminated. The officer stopped the chase, but then they were either re-engaged or found by other agencies. So the first one, the elude, started at 4th and G, and then the county actually found our vehicle still continuing to drive in a poor way, and they were able to spike it out on Highway 99, I believe is where they were. I believe that's right.
What does spike it mean?
Spike it means they used devices to flatten their tires while they were trying to get away. Thank you, Fred. Get that jargon out of there. And we went out and made the arrest for our elude on that one. And then it was actually Officer Inman trying to stop a vehicle for speeding that ran from him. And he stopped that pursuit, but the vehicle kept, driving fast and recklessly to the point that when it got into Dallas, people were pointing it out and Dallas police engaged, and it ended up, the driver left the car and ran on foot, and we still have an open case there. So that one's under investigation still. And those were my statistics. Find the place where I stop sharing my screen. Right there. All right, and without a quorum, I think that will wrap up the agenda. Anything for the good of the order that anyone has? Karen? No complaints, huh, Karen? The sun's out, you're walking to work, and you're not even going to tell us that people are not stopping for you in crosswalks or driving too fast?
People are driving too fast
Okay.
still, especially once they get on the southbound after they go through the three-way intersection. It's just like they speed up, whether they're turning from on the street south onto Main or coming straight through Main, they just accelerate.
Right past City Hall.
Yep. Well, even before I would venture that they are getting close to 30 about the time that they make it to Flores's house.
I've heard.
I did see Lance out there a lot.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Last week. I did, yeah. Anyone else? Good to the order, Dawn? Looks like
I
you're.
just love walking in our town. I try to do it a lot, and I think it's great. So I'm looking forward to what Fred can do with some walking paths. I think that alley down on Ash Street would be really great to incorporate that as some sort of walking path. And I'm so looking forward to what we can do to make this city more walkable and livable. So nice job, Fred.
I agree. And getting free help and people, both learning and it sounds like professionals if they're going to give you civil engineered plans. So getting all of that for free is amazing.
Yeah, no, I was super excited because I heard about it, and it was like, I actually wrote them. I said, hey, do you know anybody who does that outside of Portland? Like any groups that do that outside of Portland? They're like, you could apply for our program. I'm like, what? Oh, okay. Yeah, sounds good.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, no, it was awesome. So.
All right, John, thanks for joining us tonight.
You betcha. Thank you.
And with that, I will end the meeting at 7:01. Everybody have a good night.
Thank you.